Hey y'all, Coach in the fight here, guys. Stay with me. Jay ain't gonna stay late. I don't even know if y'all can hear me. I got y'all plugged in. We ain't got that much power. But we're talking about Sabbath. Um, it's gonna be a little bit different kind of live stream. Not really getting that many comments. Not sure if we're taking any. We probably will if they're important. All in favor will probably help us out. If be down there in the comment section. But today's video is a Sabbath day preparation video, and we want to talk about the importance of the Sabbath day. Now we're going to go over there to the book of Jubilees, chapter 50. Father willing, we're going to go over there. I'm going to show you how to get to there using this app. And we're going to talk. We're going to show the rules, and we may briefly chat on them. I may briefly chat on them. Stacy, if she's still here, we'll chat on them. And go in so she can make me a cup of tea. She got lemon in hers and everything. But but we're going to talk about the importance of the Sabbath day. Now, this is a calendar check. Sabbath day does start this evening at sunset. For those who didn't know, sorry about that. But you can tune into the channel over in the community section. We do have a calendar that you can print out. We have used that calendar in court before, and it does hold up. We've held it before a court of law, and so you could hold it before your boss man and get a day off, especially if you could substitute a day like work the weekend or holidays or something like that. But anyway, as far as the Hillbilly Homestead is concerned, we just got hit by a hard frost. And we didn't even know about it. The neighbors kind of knew about it. I guess they may have been watching television. Stacy said we got the wrong app, huh, Stacy? They can't hear you. The phone way in here plugged in. Let me take the phone in there. I can bring it back in. I don't think she used to it being right in here. I'm looking at Stacy's moringa trees. She's been pulling today. What are you gonna do with those? They are so wilted and.
It's fine.
So yeah, we got hit with the hard frost yesterday, and which turned out, I believe, here at the Hillbilly Homestead, one of the first times is actually a good thing, not a great thing, huh, Stay?
Mm-hmm.
Why so? Trick question.
Because you said that until the weeds.
I knew she had to say something about I said because, I had to tell her. If I didn't tell her, she wouldn't have knew the answer, because normally a hard frost around here is bad news. It kills a lot of stuff. I guess we don't worry about it this time of the year because we're not worried about fruit trees and such. But they probably gonna take a hit too, huh? Gonna lose their leaves and such.
Probably.
The thing about it, y'all have been hearing about this experiment that we've been doing out there in the garden here on the Hillbilly Homestead. And one of the things our Father was helping us with, all praises to His name, Yahweh. One of the things they was telling us is telling me, and I was telling them, is that this frost would kill the weeds. All of the weeds that have been trying to choke out the greens. They ain't been doing a good job because, it's the season of the greens. It ain't the season of the weeds. But the weeds were holding their own until until last evening, until yesterday, when they apparently got hit by a hard frost overnight. And so when you go out there, the whole garden has changed colors,
Yeah, that's what you said. I haven't been out there yet, so.
Yeah, it's actually changed colors completely. And the thing about it for the deer hunter, I don't remember reading this in the books, especially that much, but the deer just lost most of their food. The deer just lost most of their food, and so all of a sudden they're going to be having to come to where we're at to find food. That's why they're going to get real active here now, because it killed a lot of stuff. That frost killed out a lot of stuff last night. But anyway, we're talking about the importance of the Sabbath day. Now, I'm asking Stacy for a favor as I go over and try to show you guys how to get to the book that shows the rules of the Sabbath day has been kind of hidden. I'm gonna ask her to fill in the blanks. If I get bogged down, she'll have to talk a little bit. Okay, stay. They say they like hearing you. You know, getting a lot of feedback. People saying welcome back. Anyway, so I'm over here in this app. This is KJV with Apocrypha. Now, I've been using this particular app for years. If you look at the old videos that shows the Bible, especially the ones that I use on the phone, they're almost always coming from this app. The thing about it, over the years, they've changed it. If you go in and you look for the books, you see the apocryphal books, but then when you scroll down to the bottom, you don't see the hidden books. Which are, what's the hidden book, Stacy? Pop quiz.
The hidden books would be like Joshua.
Ding ding.
Books like that.
Yeah. What? Pop quiz. What's the other two? You got 1 out of 3. There's only 3 hidden books. Books hidden. Books that they don't act. They're actually called the hidden books. If you look for them, trying to Google them or whatever, they're actually, and if you want to purchase them or whatever, they're actually called the hidden books. There's 3 of them. They go together. These are the books that man doesn't want you to know at all. He's actually hidden them. These ain't the apocryphal books. The apocryphal books are ones he decided you shouldn't look at. The hidden books was ones he said you can't look at, or you ain't supposed to look at. We can find them real easy. You can find links to them down in our videos, maybe even in the description of this live stream. I don't know.
I guess I would think the books of the pseudepigrapha, different books like I'm talking about like Bel and the Dragon and different books like that.
That's apocryphal. Bel and the Dragon is only chapter 11 or chapter 12 of the book of Daniel. Susanna is the other one. There's actually two books that go with Daniel that they don't tell us about. Chapter 13 and chapter 14 in the book of Daniel. They don't tell us about them until we get to the Apocrypha. And even then, they don't tell us that they're coming out of Daniel, that they're the last 2 chapters in the book of Daniel. Yep, I say it again. There's 2 additional chapters of Daniel. They're in here. Maybe. No, they ain't. Those are the Apocryphal books. Editions of Esther, well, no. There it is. There's one of them right there. Susanna is one. It's only 1 chapter in Susanna. I'll let you see that. Whoa, no, it's 64 verses. I'll let you see the first part. There dwelt a man in Babylon called Joachim. And he took a wife whose name was Susanna, the daughter of Chaldees, a very fair woman and one that feared the Lord. That's going to be an interesting story. The woman who is, what does it say? Daughter of the Chaldees. That means she's the daughter of the magicians and the astrologers, the daughter of the astrologers and all of them people. But it says she feared the Lord. So, and it goes on to tell the story of what happened to her. We got 7 people looking, 4 people liking. But anyway, let's go back. When you go back and when you go back and start looking for the other books, the one book that we want to talk about is not here. And like I said, we've been using this app for years. I've even given links to people to share the link for people to use this same free app. I've purchased it, but and you can to keep the things away, the ads away. But in order to find it, what you have to do now, what I've been trying to do is show you that it's hidden, and then show you how to actually find it. So what you have to do is search for a word in there, like Sabbath. It's been a long time. I hope I get this right. Stacey, help me out now. I can't chew bubble gum and walk. We're talking about the importance of the Sabbath day. Oh, now I remember how you have to get there. See that? See how I just searched for it and it didn't come up? The Sabbath day is the second. These is the last book that comes up, but I'm remembering now how to get there. I mean, I can't chew bubble gum and walk at the same
I
time.
don't know. Um, you have the phone. How am I? What am I
You
gonna
gotta
do?
talk.
Oh, I don't know what to say. What do y'all want to hear about when these coaches doing this thing? What do y'all be want? Give me some hints down in the comment. 'Cause I don't be knowing what to talk about.
Anyway, so the way you guys is you have to go to the book of Revelation, chapter 22. If you have this particular app, KJV with apocrypha that you get over at the Google store before they change it, because they've obviously hidden it. You actually have to go to the last chapter in the Bible. I got Revelations here, but notice when I look from Revelation 22 to the next book, it takes me to Second Esdras. Now let me go, because the one we actually want is the Second Maccabees, which was, let me back and show you that. Second Maccabees is the last book listed down there at the bottom. Now we're trying to find the hidden books, which used to be down there. The hidden books are Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees.
Okay.
Those are the ones they don't want you to know about. Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees. For those out there in the audience, write that down, because them the ones you want paper copy of. Paper copy. They usually sell them together. Enoch, Jasher, and Jubilees usually come together because they're the hidden books. You can find a free copy, a PDF copy down in the description, but you can find cheap copies on eBay usually these days. About $10 or less. But anyway, so you go to Second Maccabees. This is how you find those books on this app, if I remember correctly. Go to chapter 15. The last verse in chapter 15. So this is the last verse they want you to see, right?
Okay.
But then scroll forward. Whoop, there's Enoch chapter 1.
Okay.
That's a big deal to say. They tried to hide it, but all you have to do is go to the last book, and then you can go, and now you can see Enoch. You go and you can see all the chapters of Enoch. And for those who wondering if Enoch is actually a legitimate book, I would argue that it's the first book ever written on the planet, but it's actually referenced in the Bible. Those 66 books of the Bible in the New Testament, no doubt. And what does it say there in the book of Jude? Read that verse right there, Steph. That chapter. Read that whole chapter. Chapter 2 of the book of Enoch.
It says, chapter 2, Behold, he comes with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment upon them and destroy the wicked and reprove all the carnal for everything which the sinful and ungodly have done and committed against him.
So that's actually quoted word for word in the book of Jude. And then so you wonder where Jude got that from? He got it from the book of Enoch. But anyway, so now we're trying to get to Jubilees, right? And you say, well, Enoch has 84 chapters, and we would have to go through 84 chapters, or it has so many, I forgot how many chapters. Well, let's see. Because now that we've pulled it up, we found Enoch. Notice how Enoch is up there at the top now.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big deal. You can now, because now you can click on it, and you can go to any chapter you want. I thought I had 84, but it has 105 chapters. And so normally, well, not normally, in this workaround, to find this book, you would have had to go through all, you had to flip through all of them. But because we can come around and find this back door, we can go to hit 105. Look at the last verse in chapter 105. Flip to the next one. Now we're in Jasher.
Okay.
And now we can go back to the book again. Again, it's still not showing us these books down here hidden. But you see up here, it shows us Jasher. So we go Jasher. Jasher chapter 91. Matter of fact, Jasher, we do want to search in Jasher because Jasher is the book where we learn that the Sabbath day was the very first rule given back to the people. Remember that?
In the book of Jasher.
Yeah, you remember that? Maybe I'll find it, but we're trying to find Jubilees right now. So we'll come back to that. So you go to the last chapter in Jasher, last verse in Jasher. Oh, flip next. Now you get to see Jubilees. So now you have to go to Jubilees and go back and you can see the book of Jubilees. Click on it. Now you can see the chapters. Go to the last chapter in the book of Jubilees. We'll go to the first verse this time. And now we finally got where we want to be. Talking about some hidden. That's another way to try to hide it. You got to do that every time you want to see that chapter now.
Okay. Just
I know they're in the comment section, and yep, you're welcome. Praise the Lord. But anyway, so we're talking about the rules of not the rules. We're talking about the importance. Let's go down there and talk and show the rules. It starts right there. Go ahead and read the rules because we ain't gonna talk about them. Just read. Matter of fact, you want me to read it while you eat? What you got?
Whatever you want, just bring it on.
You go ahead. I like to hear your voice.
Start saying it. Where do I start? On verse 7?
Yeah.
6 days shalt thou labor, but on the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. In it you shall do no manner of work, you and your sons, and your men servant and your maid servants, and all your cattle, and the sojourner also who is with you. Verse 8 says, and the man that does any work on it shall die. Whoever desecrates that day, whoever lies with his wife, or whoever says he will do something on it, that he will set out on a journey thereon in regard to any buying or selling, and whoever draws water thereon, which he had not prepared for himself on the 6th day, and whoever takes up any burden to carry it out of his tent or out of his house shall die. Verse 9 says, on the Sabbath day, save what you have prepared for yourselves on the 6th day, so as to eat and to drink and rest and keep Sabbath from all work on that day, and to bless the Lord your God, who has given you a day of festival and a holy day, and a day of the holy kingdom. For all Israel is this day among their days forever.
All right. So the rules. Those are the rules. And back up the video if you want to hear the rules. Got something to say about the rules? See in the comments. You can see the last few. You can see the last few verses in there. What do you say? For great is the honor of the Lord was given. Matter of fact, let's start in verse 10. And those are the rules up there, right? But verse 10 is kind of more like what we're talking about, but because we're talking about the importance, not necessarily the rules. We went over the rules coming out of this several times, right, Stacey?
Right.
Taking them individually. Well, let's look at verse 10.
Verse 10 says, for great is the honor which the Lord has given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day, and rest thereon from all labor which belongs to the labor of the children of men, save burning frankincense and bringing oblations and sacrifices before the Lord for days and for Sabbaths.
Yeah, and even that work right there, only the priest can do that. We can't burn incense. We can't even have incense in our possession. You know that? The biblical incense where it gives you that recipe of all of the different plants that's supposed to be in it.
Right.
You know, we can't even have that stuff in our possession, right?
Right. You can't make it.
Can't make it. It's against the law to make it. And so, and sacrificing and doing this other work is temple work. So as far as concerned, there is no work involved. We ain't doing none of this stuff. But notice what it is talking about, the distinction between the people. Where does he say it first? He says, this work alone shall, no, what does he say up there in verse 10? For great is the has given to Israel. What read? Did I say it right? I ain't got my glasses on. Did I read it right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So he's giving his honor to Israel, but then down at the end of the verse, what do we see? Or toward the middle of the verse, which belongs to the children of men. So we have in this verse both Israel and the children of men. But what he's saying is that he's giving the Sabbath day to Israel, right? Not to the children of men, right? I mean, we can go on. What does it say? For great is the honor which the Lord has given to Israel, that they should eat and drink and be satisfied on this festival day. Now we understand. We learn even in the Bible. We've talked about this before. That the Sabbath day was given to Israel alone. We can chat GPT that up right quick, but we won't. That the Sabbath day was given to Israel only. The other Gentile nations were never really even told about the Sabbath day, much less put on them as a requirement to keep it, according to the Bible, right? Japheth never heard about the Sabbath day. Ham never heard about the Sabbath day until the book of Jasher, and hopefully we'll get back to it. When they're in Egypt, when Pharaoh had to confront, or when Moses had to confront Pharaoh and tell him about the Sabbath day and ask him for Sabbath day relief. If we don't get to that chapter in the book of Jasher, what it talks about is how he went up to Pharaoh and asked him for that. Let's see if we can get over there right quick. So we're still in this workaround. So let's see. Now I have Jasher and Jubilees to work with. This is playing checkers now. I mean, no, this is playing chess, not checkers. And so now that we got this here, we can go back and hopefully we can do a search within the book of Jasher. And what we're looking for is the word Sabbath. And I'm not saying that according to the Hebrew. I'm saying it according to the English. I hope that didn't work. Let's look for it here.
It might not have been called Sabbath. It might have been just been called rest or something.
Oh, see how I have this book up here now? See, it's still, when I look for the Sabbath, see how it still doesn't come. No, it's right. It does say Sabbath. We just read Sabbath. It's the book that's being hidden, Stacey. The book that's being hidden. Look for yourself.
Yeah, I know. I'm saying in Jasher, I'm saying the word Sabbath might not have been used.
Okay, well, it's over. But notice why I didn't find it, or notice that the book didn't show it to me. But notice up here in the corner where it says Jubilees. That's because that's the last book that we looked at. And so if I was to actually click this, whoop, now it's going to show me the verses in Jubilees that has the word Sabbath in it. See that? Mm-hmm. But that's within Jubilees. A lot of them in chapter 2. Right, the whole chapter 2 may be about the Sabbath. We'll go look at it. Me and Stacey will probably look at that after this. She rolling her eyes at me again. It is Sabbath day prep, so let's get on with it. Now to get to Jasher, this is what we got to go back to the books. Now see how Jasher is up there? Mm-hmm. We have to click on Jasher, click on any book in Jasher, chapter 25, any verse. You want to go ahead and read verse 10, just for fun, just for grins and giggles. Verse 11, out of chapter 25.
And these are the names of the son of Midian, according to their names in their cities.
Yeah. Right, and Midian.
Go ahead. Ephah, Epher, Chanok, Abida, and Eldaah.
You know who Midian is?
It's a city.
You know who the priest of Midian is?
I read about him. I can't recall right now.
Yeah, that's Moses' stepdad, dad-in-law, Moses' father-in-law.
Right.
That was Midian, and so what he's talking about, you can learn in his book who the Midianites are, and because of the book of Jasher, you can actually trace these people down through history and find out where they actually, if you so desired. one of the reasons why they hid it from us. But anyway, so now we got this book on lock. So now we could go back and do a search for Sabbath day. But now, it ain't on lock still. Got Jubilees up there. We want a Jasher. And so, let me see. Hopefully this will work. Do a search. Oh, see, I think I got to go back to get Jasher up there so I can do a search within Jasher. Remember how hard it is to get to this book? And now that we have it, still don't want to look into the Jasher at all. So to do a search now, to do a search now, we have to.
Isn't that the book of Jasher?
We got to go back to the book of. We got to go back and open the book of Jasher. So we go back to Jubilees chapter 1, verse 1. And now we go backwards. Jasher chapter 91. Hopefully this is going to work. Still doesn't have Jasher up there.
Keeps putting Jubilees.
Hmm?
It continues to put Jubilees up there.
Yeah. Let me see. Computer. Open ChatGPT.
Oh, Lord.
Hello, I am a chat robot powered by ChatGPT. Do you want to get started now?
Yes.
What do you want to chat about?
The hidden book of Jasher.
The Book of Jasher is an ancient biblical text mentioned in the Bible, but its original version is lost. Some versions claiming to be Jasher are modern translations or compositions, not the original. Would you like more details on its historical references?
I want to know, can you tell me the passage where Moses confronts Pharaoh about the Sabbath day?
There isn't a specific passage where Moses directly confronts Pharaoh about the Sabbath day. The story of Moses and Pharaoh mainly revolves around the plagues and the Israelites' release. The Sabbath is more emphasized in the context of the Israelites' laws given later in Exodus. Would you like to explore those passages?
Maybe you could ask.
Only in the book of Jasher, I think it's about chapter 70 or so, Moses asks Pharaoh for a day of rest. Can you quote that or see that verse?
In the book of Jasher, chapter 7, it narrates Moses asking Pharaoh for a day of rest.
Okay, she lied.
Would you like me to recite this?
Stop.
Talk to you later.
I have now say.
I was just going to say that he asked for a day of rest because he was continually working with the bricks and a thing like that. So that's definitely in Jasher. I don't know exactly what chapter.
I'm gonna find that. I'm working on that.
But yeah, so I don't think it was called Sabbath at that time. I think it was just them giving them a day away from labor. So
What I'm doing now is pulling up my computer over here to actually be able to see. The other thing, let's see. I think it is. About chapter 70, I think. Nope, that's when Moses was 18 years old. Well, I about to got the computer up. Stacy, you gotta talk. You can't be quiet. You gotta say something. Tell them about the weather, anything. That cup of tea you're drinking. Say something.
Tell them about the cup of tea I'm drinking. Well, we'll just go back to talking about what we was talking about. What was going on at that time was that children of Israel, all the tribes except I believe it was the tribe of Levi that didn't go out and was doing laborious work for the king and the people were actually doing a lot of labor, and so Moses went to the king, and he was asking him for a specific time off. This was way before um, he went in and asked about them going out into the wilderness to worship the Most High. So, um, yeah, and that was because the people were being worked so hard that they didn't have time to rest. So,
Well, it's in chapter 70. It's somewhere around here. I'm actually still looking to find the exact verse here. But this is the chapter. It starts off in the 3rd year from the birth of Moses. Let's scroll down to the bottom. And the fame went throughout Egypt. Okay, verse 47 is about it.
you want me to look? How you doing?
No, what's that? Oh. Say something while I look to find the verse.
Well, let me look about it. And
You don't know oh, right there.
what I'm looking for.
Verse 41.
And the day arrived, Moses went to Goshen to see his brethren, that he saw the children of Israel and their burdens and hard labor, and Moses was grieved on their account.
So this is the time when Moses and Aaron is just now getting back to Egypt. Moses has been in Midian with the Midianites all this time. He's actually married one of the Midianites. He done had some kids in the bush. Now he done walked all the way back to Egypt with Aaron. He's there to went to Goshen where the people are still living at. And now he finds them doing what? Hardship, hard labor.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And the king answered Moses and said, Behold, I have lifted up
Wait, you say verse 40, 42? Verse 42. Oh, which verse you on?
Oh, yeah. And Moses returned to Egypt and came to the house of Pharaoh and came before the king, and Moses bowed down before the king.
So he bowed down before the king, just like we had to do before Nebuchadnezzar. Go ahead.
And Moses said unto Pharaoh, I pray thee, my lord, I have come to seek a small request from thee, turn not away thy face empty. And Pharaoh said to him, Speak.
Okay, so now we may have to get a bit of a background here as to, find out, because Moses is not speaking of his own accord, we're going to find out here. This is not Moses' idea, but go ahead.
And Moses said unto Pharaoh, Let there be given unto the servants of the children of Israel who are in Goshen one day to rest therein from their labor.
Okay, so this is what's important to understand. This is Moses who hasn't had any interactions with the people yet. He hasn't even gone to them and say, we about to leave this place. Not because you remember Moses was back in Goshen for 2 years before before they left Egypt. So he didn't give them a 2-year plan. So they were keeping the Sabbath day 2 years before they left Egypt. Think about that, the importance of the Sabbath day, because they didn't get the verses, they didn't get the other instructions, including the Sabbath day, until chapter 20, but of the book of Exodus. But we learned early on, I can't remember exactly which chapter it was, where Moses is back there going into Goshen and having these conversations with Pharaoh. It's many, many chapters earlier. And so my point is, at least 2 years before these people ever know or consider even leaving Egypt, they was already keeping the Sabbath day. You gotta go?
I'll finish this here and then I have to leave.
All right, yeah, go ahead. We'll get Stacy one more verse and then she got it.
And the king answered Moses and said, Behold, I have lifted up thy face in this thing to grant thy request. And Pharaoh ordered a proclamation to be issued throughout Egypt and Goshen. 47, next verse. You want to read 47?
Go ahead.
You, all the children of Israel, thus says the king, and labor, but on the seventh day you perform any work. Thus shall you do all the days, as the king and Moses, the son of Bethiah, have.
All right, y'all. So Stacy got to go.
I was saying after I finished that verse, but
So we did. We finished that one. So I mean, it's just Pharaoh giving the command. Moses asked for it. Pharaoh gave it. All right. Any closing words?
hope you guys have a happy Sabbath day and a lot of resting.
Cool. All right. Now we're going back to Jubilees, and if you guys got to rush off too, um, sorry about that. That's one of the reasons why we make these videos in this way, so that it doesn't bog you down. You don't have to hold it in your hand and watch it. We ain't got nothing going on that you're gonna miss. You're not gonna miss the verse. You probably got the book on your shelf anyway, so you can go on about your day. You can, if you feel like that right now, I got you in a locked position where you got to be sitting there and you can't carry on your day because you got to listen to the Coach in the Fight show. I apologize. I apologize for that. I don't mean to hold you up, interfere with your day or anything like that. But anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and finish this one up. We're going to go back to chapter 50. I think we may have been finished, but I wanted to start in verse 1 for some reason. It was supposed to be the crux, the main point of this video. With verse 1, I was just giving you guys some background. I'm sorry it took so long. Giving you guys some background. Fire here. Y'all hold up. Yeah, I'll be right back with y'all. Feel like man. Alright, sorry about that. Alright, so verse 1 says, After this law are made known to thee the days of the Sabbaths in the desert of Sinai, which is between Elon and Sinai. Again, we're talking about the importance of the Sabbath day. Now, understand this point. Now, we saw the Sabbath day back in Genesis chapter 2. It was actually, let's go back and look at that. We're talking about the importance of the Sabbath day. But back in about Genesis chapter 2, it says, Thus the heavens and the earth were finished, and all the host of them. And on the seventh day God ended his work which he had made, and he rested on the seventh day from all his work which he had made. And God blessed the seventh day and sanctified it, because that in it he rested from all his work which God created and made. So we ain't but 2 chapters in the whole Bible, y'all. We ain't but 2 chapters in the whole Bible, y'all. We ain't but 2 chapters in the whole Bible, y'all. And he already laying down the Sabbath day. These people ain't heard nothing else. They don't know nothing about eating blood. They don't know nothing about anything yet. They don't even know about murder yet. Cain ain't even killed Abel yet, and the Sabbath day is already a thing. Have they even been told to procreate? Yeah, I believe they was already told to be fruitful and multiply. I think that was the only rule they got back there in verse 1. Back in Jubilees in 50, the last chapter in Jubilees. So if you think about the story real carefully, Did Moses know about the Sabbath day? Well, only, when he was told about it on the mountain. He wasn't given the information from birth. He wasn't keeping the Sabbath. It was only when it was given. Did Abraham keep the Sabbath day? Can anybody find a reference where he did? Thing about Abraham, he was back there during the time of Job. The book of Job predates all of the books in the Bible, even Genesis. Genesis was written after the book of Job. Genesis was written after the book of Job. Genesis was written by Moses. Job was already dead and gone by then. Job was already dead and gone before Moses ever came on the scene. So that book is the oldest book or the oldest story it's the oldest book. How do you know that? How do you know that Job predates Moses? Because in the book of Job, when Job's friends comes in and talks to Job, they don't say anything about the law. They don't say you broke the law. If the law of Moses had been in effect, they would have accused Job of breaking the Sabbath day at least. They would have accused him of breaking the Sabbath day, where they would have said, Job, you did something wrong. You looked at some lady as adultery. You think that you thought about stealing. So they named off all of the rules that Moses had talked about, and Job wouldn't have been able to get out of it because there's a whole lot of rules. And every time they came, they said, Job, you just in denial. You breaking the law. Which he was. His children were eating food sacrificed unto idols. You see that in chapter 1. That's what he was doing. He was allowing his kids to eat food sacrificed unto idols. But you notice they didn't accuse him of breaking the Sabbath day. Like I said, Job was back there with Abraham. Job and Abraham were together. Right? And so that means that the Sabbath day wasn't a thing back there with Abraham, right? I don't know, but that means the Sabbath day wasn't even a thing. So my point is, you had all of these thousands and thousands of years that people done walked the earth, and they ain't really, paying too much attention about the Sabbath day too much. So how many people is that? That's Japheth. He didn't go on to the mountains. Did he hear about the Sabbath day? Nope. Ham, he was supposed to go east, Hong Kong and China. Did they hear about the Sabbath day in Hong Kong and China? Who would have told them? Who would have told them? Who would have told them in Russia? They wouldn't have heard it. The first time that humanity heard it as a whole, let me see that. The first time that humanity heard it as a whole, the first time that humanity heard it as a whole, there you go. It's right there with Moses, and he's only talking to Israel. And so here you have the book of the covenant, and you're hearing about the commandments, but only Israel is getting it. What's the significance of that? Well, the thing about it, the earth is promised to Israel, not the whole world. And so this Sabbath day is necessary. It's absolutely necessary for anybody who plans on surviving the tribulation. That's why we're doing a whole class about the Sabbath day. On Sabbath day prep, no doubt. That's why Stacy had to run out, because she got a lot of stuff to do to get prepared for the Sabbath day. I do too, which included making this video. It's a 6-day work week, and I have to work on a 6th day too. But as a minister, sometimes I get anyway. I try not to, as he tells me to. The work comes in editing. The work is editing. So we're looking here at, but again, the Sabbath day starts this evening. Calendar check. Calendar check, guys. And what about you guys that got to work tomorrow? What are you missing out on? You're missing out on the temple's court being opened. The gates of the inner court are being opened right now. They're closed now. You can't go into the inner court. If you imagine yourself over there in Jerusalem, or matter of fact, imagine yourself back there in Sinai, Mount Sinai in the tent that he told them to build, a tent there. You know, the outside area, of course, where everybody can go. The Gentiles and everybody can be out there. And then you have the courtyard. Inside the courtyard, only very few people, not very few, but certain people get to go inside the courtyard. That's where they're actually having the sacrifice of the animals. You know, that's where, you know, a lot of activity is going on. That's inside the court. That's behind the curtains. Not everybody can see. It's close enough where the Gentiles can peep in. Imagine the Gentiles can peek through the curtains and see all of this, but they don't really go in. You know, because of the requirements it takes to get in, they don't really go in. But those that are in there, inside the court, yeah, they're a little, you know, bit closer, but they're only in the court. And yeah, you can go in there just about, you know, there's no requirement about going in that part. But then there's the gates to that part, I should say. The inner court. You have the outer court and the inner court. Between the outer court and the inner court, there's a gate. And that's the problem. Anybody can go to the outer court. You can go to the outer court now, but the inner court, there's a gate. You cannot get inside the inner court. The gate only opens on the Sabbath day, new moon days. The gate, and that's, I think that's Psalms chapter 83 and 1 that tells us that. The gates of the inner court. Oh, no, that's Ezekiel 41. Let's go over there and look at that. Ezekiel 41. Was it 46? 46 and 1. 46 and 1. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in it the day of the new moon it shall be opened. And in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. I read that wrong. But on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. So those are the only times that the court are open. Folk will argue, you know, especially a whole bunch of religious folks, be like, I can go to the Lord. Yeah, you can pray. There's a difference between being able to send a letter and being able to make a phone call. Right? And so that's what we're talking about. During the Sabbath day period, you're talking about the gates of the inner court being open. Now, how important is that? You know about that, right, Stay? Gates of the inner court being open?
Yep, talks about it now, Isaiah.
Ezekiel 40, yeah, we're looking at it in Ezekiel 46 and 1.
Yep.
Look at verse 2, it says, the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate, and the priest shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offering, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. So the gate will be shut on the evening. Now, this is another verse. I hadn't ever considered this one, but this is another verse that talks about how the day ends at sunset. The gate going to be shut until the evening. Right. And we can get into the specifics of that time of day. I would love to hear a conversation about that. When exactly evening starts. Does it start at 6 p.m.? Does it start at sunset? Does it start at twilight? Does it start when it gets dark? When does evening start? I'm going to have to check the comments. Lord, I'm going to have to check the comments. Go ahead and get it locked and loaded already. But anyway, we'll take them before we leave. Well, notice these parts right here. Looking real close. We thank the Lord for these revelations that's coming out of this. But notice something I noted up there that looking. Okay, so you have the gate that looketh towards the east. What does that mean? You know, we're told to pray looking toward the temple. At least Solomon tried to pray that we were supposed to look toward the temple, but it's talking about that particular gate. Now, is that a relationship? What he's saying? All right, I think I'm back. Got 0 people still here. All right, I think I'm back. Got 0 people still here. Well, we back. We're going to go ahead and close it out. Sorry about that. One watching. Sorry about that, y'all. Sorry. But I will finish it out. I know some people will sit there waiting, not sure what would happen. Not sure if it was YouTube or something happened here. And it was us this time. What we call the gremlins here. It was a power issue. You guys may have noticed that before I did. Let me see. Can y'all see that? Y'all see my battery power? Yeah, you can see I was about to run out of battery power. Y'all have to let me know that I'm about to run out because I actually wasn't paying attention. But another thing that I won't be paying attention to, guys, is, and I drew lots on this. I'm just trying to figure out how to transition to it. But another thing I won't pay attention to is my own personal well-being. Let me say that. When it comes to this fight, you guys are making this show possible. You're making this teaching possible. That was intentional. I was reading in the scripture many years ago, and I understood that this economic situation was coming on the world, and so I allowed myself to be subject to our Father's will, and actually went off grid, and have been relying on living off the land. But because Stacy and I aren't really good at that, we've had to depend on you guys to help us out through your offerings and such. Well, I wish some of you guys paid tithes, but you don't. Nobody really pays tithes to this channel. So, what? Why are you looking? Huh? I drew lots on it. I'll just say the last. Let me. Okay, Stacy don't think I should talk about it at all.
I said be nice.
Well, I did want to make this point that I looked it up. The last person that's made an offering to this channel was $1 back in October. It's kind of funny, but it's big. You ain't looking too funny now. Anyway, so just remind you guys, I have my obligations. You have yours too. But anyway, we're gonna go ahead and get back to the Sabbath day. One of the reasons why you may not be getting this message about the Sabbath day is because you're not paying your tithes. Now, I don't mean to say that. I'm making a transition back now, because the tithes are kind of like a lubricator. But anyway, you have the importance of the Sabbath day. When it comes to, if you look at our sacred calendar on there, and I'm getting a little bit in the preachy side, but when you look at our sacred calendar on there, it talks about this particular day and how it's a day of charity. And so after closing this video out, one of the things we do around here is, well, I ain't supposed to tell everything we do, but it's kind of community involvement. But anyway, let's get on with it. Got a few comments here. We got Leah says Grand Rising Leah. Warrior Prince of the Most High Yah says Shalom, Coach, Sis Stacy and family, and in the fight family, peace, love, and light. Appreciate you. And wondering how you guys are doing out there. I ain't keeping up with the news a lot, but I do realize that you guys have gone through a lot of stuff out there in that part of the world. How you guys doing out there? And I will say this: A lot of people depend on this channel. Not just this family, not just Stacy, but a lot of people around the world depend on this channel too. You know, and I was a little bit embarrassed when one of you guys reached out for help yesterday. And I actually, let me draw a lot. Should I say something? Should I say something? Nope, I ain't gonna tell y'all that. What I had to do and actually help them people. I ain't gonna tell y'all what I had to do. But anyway, they got help. They did. Praise the Lord. They did. They did get what they needed. Praise the Lord. We got Phyllis Ely said hi. And but that reminds me, I want to say, if you guys ever do need me, the charity goes both ways. I appreciate all you guys are doing to help me, but I also appreciate it when you think of me when you need something. That's important to me. You know, that's important to me. You know, I can't always help, but usually when you guys ask, I can. Usually I can. Usually he sets me up in a way that when you do ask for help, I can already help, right, Stan?
Right.
Yeah, like all of a sudden somebody, yeah, anyway. So it goes both ways. Rashad R. Asta 47 says, what you apologizing for? Apologize for taking up you guys' time. I realize that we all are all in this, you know. And you got your responsibilities, you got stuff you got to do, you know. And, a lot of people are here to support the channel only, like the choir and church. Because you imagine how tough it is on the choir sometimes when they got to pack up, dress up, get up, go out, just to hear the same old message every time from the same. And so a lot of people in the comment section are like that. And so we appreciate it, but at the same time, the reason why they're doing it is not support of the preacher or the pastor. They doing it because at one point they was new in the congregation too. And if they'd walked in the church and it wasn't nothing but some old grouchy old pastor up there just talking, they know they wouldn't have lasted long too. They needed the choir. They needed the other stuff going on too. And so that's why you have a lot of people in the comment section just representing. I realize they taking their time up too. They got stuff to do. And so I apologize. We'll get on with it. Leon says, that's a super explanatory how important the Sabbath day is already coming out in the gate in verse 2 of Genesis. Yeah. Chapter 2 in Genesis. Already talking about the importance of the Sabbath day. Guys. At one point I would argue, before I think about it too hard, I'll say, at one point I would argue that it is the most important commandment in all of the Bible. In all of the Bible. Name one you think is more important. Killing somebody, murder. According to the Ecclesiastes, there's a time to kill. It says there's a time to steal. It says there's a time to do just about everything but breaking the Sabbath day. It ain't never a time to break the Sabbath day. It ain't never a time. Ever a time. I'm wrong, fine. Ecclesiastes what? Say we can violate the Sabbath day. You say we can go out here, and they ain't say we can. But it says it is a time to kill. It is a time to steal. There is a time when you're supposed to steal. There is a time that you will be judged because you didn't actually steal that thing. Especially if somebody died because you sitting there, I ain't gonna take it. And somebody sitting there dying, man. And so, already off jump, he's already telling us about the Sabbath day. Let's see if we got any more comments. I'm sorry about this show. Oh, gotta do it. What's going on with y'all, man? Anyway. Aram Faber. Appreciate it. That's it for the video. The verse out of Jubilees, the book of Jubilees, chapter 50. Now you see verse 3 says, and the land also shall keep its Sabbaths while they dwell on it, and they shall know the Jubilee year. So we learned this information back there in Sinai. And then you look at verse 4, it goes on to tell us when the Jubilee year was. Now, there's some people trying to figure out when exactly the Jubilee year is. It's about the only book or place that you can actually find exactly when the Jubilee year is. This is the only places where you have to do math at. But anyway, my point is that it's already going on. We're not really talking about the Sabbath day. And so that's why I wanted to bring out about the Sabbath day. It's a thing of Israel. It's like wearing tassels. If you're not really keeping a Sabbath day, you can't call yourself Israel. You know, that is one of the first things, if not the first thing, that make you Israel is keeping a Sabbath day. Now, you may not be able to keep it on Wednesdays. I always have to feel like I have to make this caveat. When the gates will open this evening, period. Whenever evening is on the Lord's clock, the gates will open. There's nothing nobody, even Elohim can't do anything about that. And they will shut tomorrow evening. But what if you have to work? That means you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. That means you're going to miss out. You cannot take advantage of the inner court while you're down there punching out widgets for Mr. Charlie. It don't work. You can't even be crocheting and jump. To be honest. You can't be doing anything that distracts your mind. Anything. Playing chess. You can't play chess while you're trying to be in touch with the Lord. It's distracting of your mind. Your brain has to be open. And so you can't read other books unrelated to him and what he got going on. You know? And even when you're reading the Bible, you actually have to pause for a minute, don't you? And contemplate the idea of what he's saying. Because you can't do both. There's no such thing as multitasking. In the moments where you are reading, your brain is actually preoccupied with something else. It'd be good if you was reading the Bible. Because when you stop reading, then maybe you'll think about the Bible. And you'll allow him to come in with his emanations. But if you're doing something else, you can't. Like I said, a lot of times I don't like making videos on a Sabbath day. I shouldn't say I don't like it. It's just I think about it. But they're Bible studies. So yeah, I can do Bible studies on a Sabbath day. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's just a matter, most of the time for me, it's just a matter of pushing the record button and talking out loud. You know, thinking out loud. And it turns into a video, but I have to do the editing part, which is work part. I got to come later part. But what if you do have to work? Are you going to die? Today, absolutely not. Nobody is. Even the ones who violate the Sabbath, they're just going to get in trouble. You know, if they was actually walking with the Lord for a little while, they may end up getting in big trouble as far as they're concerned. Much is given, much is expected. You know, when they've been given a lot and they can lose all that they've been given, that's what they call about backsliding. You know, so it is a big deal. But the thing about it, the requirement is, if you go over there and you look, let's go over there and look at it. Let's go over and look at Exodus. It's going to be a short class, and Stacy walked out. Now we're talking about everything. Verse 8 says, remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days thou shalt, 6 thou labor and do all thy work. But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work. Thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days made heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them eat, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Notice he don't tell you when it is. It's not, I ain't gonna say it ain't a requirement to know when it is, but it's like our Father knew that we would be in this time when nobody knows it is. And so he left it to where you actually have wiggle room. He said 7 days. Do not work 7 days. He said 6 days thou shalt labor and do. So what does that mean? Well, that means if you gotta go to work today, yeah, you're gonna miss out. You need to be getting a good rest tonight. Maybe you can get some of it before tomorrow morning. Yeah, the Elohim gonna be frowning up on you tomorrow when you get up to go do your thing. Yeah, you're gonna miss it. Hopefully by lunchtime. Hopefully you'll say, "Hope you better rise at dawn. Stop whatever you're doing at dawn." Even if I was driving a tank, I believe we'd have to pull over at dawn. That's every day. But then, try to get it in. Try to pray. Try to meditate. Try to read your Bible at lunchtime. Listen to the scripture on your way to work. Do everything you can. Because the gates are open. And again, ain't nothing you can do about that. You can't postpone it. But the thing about it, you're going to have to find a day to sabotage. If you're off on Saturday and Sunday, Sunday is probably your Sabbath day. Sunday is your Sabbath day. Ain't it, Stay?
Yeah, 7 days.
Right? Because they go back to work on Monday, right? You go to work on Monday, that's the first day. And so you start counting, Sunday is the seventh day. Right? And let's talk about that, just for a second, because somebody I thought it was Saturday. No, it's actually neither one. We're only talking to the people that have to go to work. They only get off certain days. They only off on the weekend, so they have to choose between Saturday and Sunday. Yes, they can choose Saturday. Yes, they can choose Sunday. Which one do you choose? You choose the opposite one. That makes sense, Dave?
Opposite one.
Yeah. If you are a Christian, when do Christians go to church?
The end of the week, they go on Sunday.
They go on Sunday. So they would have to have Saturday as their Sabbath day because they want to go to church, right? And so they have to take Saturday as the Sabbath day, the day when they don't go to church, the day when they don't leave the house, the day when they don't have church dinner, the day when they don't wear their suits down there at Walmart, the day when they ain't riding around doing all this other churchy stuff. They have to take Saturday. But what about the 7-day Adventists? When are they Sabbath day? Take a guess. Saturday. And so if you prefer the 7-day Adventist crowd, you now need to sabotage Sunday. So you can hang out with the 7-day Adventists. You can go to church. You can be in a Bible study, hear what they got to say. But then your Sabbath day would actually be on Sunday because, again, you got to rest and behave and do what you're supposed to be doing. But that's only for the people who don't have the opportunity to walk in this walk. But again, notice how important it is. You got to get it in no matter what. And if you got a job that you got to work 7 days a week, quit. Quit. You heard Coach in the Fight told me I got to quit because I got to work 7 days a week. Yeah, it's your life. Yeah, your life depends on it. That's that important. No, you never, ever work 7 days in a row. No matter what. If you don't understand the importance of that, meet me down in the comment section. We'll chat about it. But I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Sorry, I can't see the last few comments. Lost the power of my computer now. Tell me what they said down in the other comment section where we get to see all the comments. But if you got anything out of this video, hit the like button. If you didn't, hit the dislike button. And I'll see you in the comment section. Happy Saturday.